For years now, we have seen attacks on Lara Croft's femininity and the very premise of her games being called problematic over her tomb raiding abilities, and now a new TTRPG guidebook is confirming Crystal Dynamics is working to apologize for the franchise's colonialist origins. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. Now, it is a shame that there are no IPs and no characters which are sacred anymore that people are afraid to change because of backlash, and now we have to deal with them changing Lara Croft. Now, obviously, over the past few years, they've definitely gone in some very interesting directions with her, ones that people are not big fans of. Of course, we had the modern trilogy, which a lot of people didn't like. We, of course, have the upcoming TV show Phoebe Waller-Bridge is working on, and there was, a big de-emphasis on her beauty and her femininity in the modern trilogy, and we assume also the upcoming TV show, but now we have to deal with this. It says, in the latest instance of the Western video game industry's incessant obsession with unnecessary virtue signaling, the guidebook for the Tomb Raider Shadows of Truth tabletop role-playing game has revealed that current franchise developer Crystal Dynamics is actively working to both apologize for and distance the action-adventure series from its colonialist roots. You are never going to be able to do that, because the very people who were offended over the original content, whether it's Lara Croft's design, whether it is these roots and origins that they're claiming are offensive now, you are never going to be able to distance yourself enough to the point where those outraged individuals are happy. So all you are doing is pushing away the consumers you already had, and to boot, you're also trying to market it towards a modern audience, but the modern audience that companies constantly boast about and focus on doesn't actually exist. They're just sensitive snowflakes on social media, and they're not going to buy your products. It says developed by TTRPG production studio Evil Hat Productions, who readers may remember as the publisher behind the attention-desperate title Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Tomb Raider Shadows of Truth put players in the role of a truth seeker, describing in-game as contemporaries of Lara Croft who strive to reveal long-hidden knowledge and thwart those who would steal and exploit artifacts for their own gain. So, of course, right off the bat, tabletop RPG, the TTRPG space is pretty woke. At this point, there are still, of course, some individual companies who have not gone that route, but the majority of the big ones, for example, Wizards of the Coast, have definitely gone in that direction, and Evil Hat Productions is no stranger to controversy because they have been very attention-seeking over the years. I mean, Thirsty Sword Lesbians came out, and I remember they accused everybody who didn't buy it of being, homophobes and the classic playbook moves, you're a terrible person, period, because we simply didn't want to support their garbage-looking game. But as a truth seeker, players are tasked with exploring various locales and ruins in service of solving any number of ancient mysteries, and the exact details of which are determined for each campaign by Keepers of Truth. It's the equivalent to a dungeon master in Dungeons & Dragons, but I mean, right off the bat, when you see this art, you can tell what this title is going to be. Lara doesn't look half bad. I mean, they clearly reduced her chest size, but unfortunately that is just modern Lara at this point. But then if you look at these other characters who they decided to put on the front, you can clearly tell that this is riddled with, very progressive ideologies, and again, they're trying to market it to this fictitious modern audience. It says, unsurprisingly, in light of both the premise of its source franchise and the TTRPG itself, Shadows of Truth requires players to raid various ruins and uncover the various clues and historical truths they contain therein. If this paragraph was all the game was, this would be awesome. I would love a really good Tomb Raider TTRPG, but unfortunately, we know that that is not the case, that this is another attempt by Crystal Dynamics to avoid their work being problematic, and they're trying to change Tomb Raider and Lara Croft forever, and Tomb Raider fans don't want these political agendas being shoved into our content, and all they're doing is damaging Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider brand even further, and it's so sad to see because I love this character, I love her stories, and I don't want them to completely butcher her, but they have really been trying for years at this point, okay? These people claim that they want more female representation in entertainment and good female characters, yet they had one and have started slashing away, and soon there will be nothing left. The de-emphasis on her beauty in the modern trilogy and the, I would say, critical reception to it, because the first one was pretty good. A lot of people really liked it, and then of course it went downhill from there. Then you of course have the upcoming TV show Phoebe Waller-Bridge is working on, and I don't think that she's going to do justice by this character in this story. She confirmed that she's working on the Tomb Raider series, and she says that they've really been behind the scenes focusing on Lara Croft's bust and ultimately who they were going to cast, because it's very unrealistic to have a big-chested woman tomb raiding, which is complete and utter ridiculousness, since of course we are talking about Lara Croft, who's doing fictional things, right? Of course, she is going to have to be played by a real woman, but at the same time, they previously had Angelina Jolie, an absolute bombshell, playing her, and she even, let's be honest, wore a padded bra to emphasize her chest even more. Why is that a problem? Why is it a problem to have beautiful women in entertainment and ultimately have this representation of a big-chested woman on screen? I mean, unfortunately, woke game studios like this say moral lectures can be entertaining all the time. It's not really surprising to see another bad Tomb Raider product release, but it is extremely sad because I love Lara Croft, I love Tomb Raider, and I don't want them to continue butchering our girl. Recently we got the remasters, which of course a lot of people were extremely happy with, and even though they did feature some censorship, overall the reception was pretty positive, and I think that that is the direction that they need to continue to go with this franchise, and they actually need to listen to consumers. We also know that they have another game in the works. We do not know much about it except for, of course, Amazon Games is doing it with Crystal Dynamics, no surprise there. So we don't really know exactly what is going to happen in that, but one could hope that they're going to go in the direction that fans actually want them to head in, which is of course keeping Lara Croft extremely beautiful, keeping her strong and badass without all of the modern day messaging. Only time will tell, but this TTRPG is an absolute bust, and I personally recommend you stay as far away from this as you possibly can. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.